Hey guys, Kevin Red for Pretty Little Liars, Season 6, Episode 12, Charlotte's Web, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode. Last week's premiere didn't impress me too much. I definitely really enjoyed it, but I just felt like there was something missing, and this episode I thought was a lot better. I mean, definitely this episode did what I wanted to do. It showed how different things are. Things actually felt different in this episode, and the way we're going with this murder, I'm actually very impressed with. Definitely, they're not trying to do an exact replica of what's happened for the past 6 seasons. So let's just get into this episode. There was a lot of interesting stuff that came up in this episode, and I definitely want to get into it. So we start with the liars. They're talking. They're all talking. The liars being the four central characters, of course, and um, what I loved about this scene is that, as we know, they basically told Allie that they were only going to stay for this whole court thing, and then they were all going to leave. But now that this murder has come up, they're pressuring Arya to stay in Rosewood because, of course, amid the homicide investigation into Charlotte's death. But she insisted that she had to go back to Boston for work, and basically they're not listening to it because Hannah, this is something I loved here. Hannah privately confronts Arya over leaving the hotel the night of the murder because she's actually on her. She doesn't think that Arya is telling the truth. She thinks that Arya could possibly be lying because she left the hotel, of course, when it was going on. So it's very possible that Arya could be the one that murdered Charlotte, which definitely makes sense. I mean, there's a theory going around about it, and something I loved here, not just the fact that Arya could possibly be the one that did this. Two, we're actually getting a smart Hannah. I mean, one of the things I think has always been stupid is that Hannah's always been the dumb one. She has. She's always had these ideas that were really stupid, and she's always said things that were really dumb. And finally, I actually think we're getting into a territory where Hannah's actually really smart. And I like seeing that here. I like seeing Hannah do the mature thing and privately confront her. And definitely that's something I really loved about this episode, is just seeing Hannah a lot smarter, definitely. It shows that she's grown up, and I like seeing that. So, Arya is not giving any details, and the girls were also suspicious of Sarah's possible involvement because they're fearful that she may spill what secretly went down between them 5 years ago, which obviously is something to worry about because she could, make it seem like they knew what was going on and that they could have easily done this and that maybe they did this to Charlotte as revenge. She could definitely make up a story that way. Sarah's very good in telling lies, so obviously they are definitely on to Sarah as well as Arya. So, however, very quickly, Lorenzo rules this out to Allie because her lingering injuries would have made it impossible for her to cause Charlotte's violent death, in which her neck was broken by blunt force trauma prior to the fall from the church bell tower, which was staged to look like a suicide, and there's no way that Sara could have done it. So he does not feel that Sara is the one that did this, and that was definitely very interesting. So with Spencer, definitely some interesting things come up with Spencer in this episode. We see that right away her mother is with Caleb. They're trying to figure out what's going on. Someone has corrupted her campaign or something like that. And still, we don't know what's going on between Spencer and Caleb. There's something going on. We don't know what it is. So, something's going on between them, and we don't know. So, Hannah and, we get to meet Jordan in this episode. We see Hannah and Jordan. She fills him in on Charlotte's death, and he's British, surprisingly. But, okay, that was kind of cool. But honestly, it's nice to see Hannah with a really nice guy who really cares about her. I like seeing that. She has to talk to the cops in the morning. He's bringing in his family's high-profile lawyer, and Hannah just wants to leave New York and no talk to the cops. She just wants to go to New York and not have to talk, but right away, Jordan's telling her, you have to do this, it's the right thing to do, and I think Jordan is one of the things that's actually made her smarter. Like, how I said we were getting a smarter Hannah? I don't think it's come out of nowhere. I think Jordan's the one that's done that. So Arya stops by Ezra's apartment, and she says she's on the way to the airport, but she has to talk to him first. And let me just say that Arya and Ezra, I think, are going to be one of the most interesting parts of these next 2 seasons, because where they're going with these two is definitely very interesting. Arya tells Ezra that if he talks to the cops, he has to lie and says he didn't see her the night that Charlotte was killed, And she doesn't want anyone to know that she snuck out of the hotel, because she did. She snuck out of it, and she's lying about it. So, again, those theories of Arya could be the one that killed Charlotte could very possibly be true. Definitely at this point, you can think that. So, we then see Emily. Now, this was very interesting. As we know, she stayed in Rosewood. We don't know why, but she's at what appears to be a doctor's appointment, and she's having blood drawn. She's getting treatments for some disease, and something's going on with her. We don't know what it is, but you don't just randomly get blood drawn for no reason. So definitely something is going on with Emily, and we don't know what it is. So Spencer, Hannah, and Allie are reading the police reports from Charlotte's death. Allie thinks that Arya was acting suspicious because, she skipped town super fast, and Spencer says that Arya is innocent, and Spencer doesn't feel that Arya could have done this, and I like seeing that all the girls kind of don't think that way. Hannah thinks that, oh, this could possibly be true, but Spencer's not really sure, and I like seeing that. Something else I love about this episode, if you guys can't tell, is that everyone was kind of split up. Everyone was kind of doing their own thing, and I definitely like that, showing that they're grown up. Emily was in her own place. She's not with Spencer and Hannah for this episode. She is eventually, but right now she's not. And Arya's off at her job, which I definitely, and with Ezra, and I like seeing that. So basically, they're not really sure if they can trust Arya now. Spencer's convinced that they can, but the rest really aren't. So Arya's back at her work in Boston. She's apparently hooking up with her boss. Of course, we find out that Liam is her boss in this episode. And her boyfriend asks Arya if she talked to Ezra, and their firm is publishing a book that he wrote, basically. We find out, and that's that they're purchasing this book, that they're publishing this book that he wrote. And I thought that was definitely very interesting that we found this out, that basically these two are trying to work together. For whatever reason, he's not writing this book, obviously. Probably because of Nicole's death. He just hasn't gotten over Nicole's death, which is understandable. This is clearly someone he really cared about, and we see, though, that they need this book, and he's not giving it to them. So Hannah and Jordan then go for a walk in Rosewood, and Hannah's still trying to get him to go back to New York. But before this, we see Emily talking to this girl, Sabrina, I think her name was. Yeah, Sabrina. And they were getting really close, but something is going on there. We see that Sabrina's taken over the brew, but something's going on. We don't really know what, but basically Hannah and Jordan go for a walk in Rosewood. Hannah's still trying to get him to go back to New York, but they made dinner plans with Allie, and Hannah's been trying to get out of it all day, but Jordan thinks that it's a good idea. He thinks that this could be fun if they did this, and Spencer is then freaking out. She confides in Caleb that she thinks someone's trying to set her up for Charlotte's death. Apparently, she wrote a paper for criminology that sounds an awful lot like Charlotte's autopsy report. So Caleb reassures her that it's all probably just a coincidence and that there's really nothing to worry about. And again, I like seeing these two bond. And I know people are upset that these two are together. I'm not. I like that they're doing something different, because that's the show, trying to do something different. You're playing with these ideas, and I like seeing that. That's definitely something that I think they're handling very well, is this storyline between Spencer and Caleb. You just see that they really care about each other, and then we see at Ari's office, her boss, Jillian, is not happy. I don't know why I said Liam was her boss. He's not. At Ari's office, her boss, Jillian, is not happy. We see that their firm paid Ezra to write a book, and he still hasn't finished it. So Arya was supposed to bring it back with her from Rosewood, and she struck out. And her job could be in danger because of this. So basically, he has to write this book, or Arya's going to get fired. So again, this definitely makes this plot a lot more interesting. He's not writing the book. They need him to write the book, and if she doesn't get it, she's going to get fired. So definitely very interesting stuff there. Emily then runs into an old friend at the hospital, Sabrina, like I said. Emily begs her not to tell any of her friends or family that they ran into each other. She's trying to keep her illness a secret, and her friends think that Emily has cancer, and she encourages her to tell her mom the truth, and basically they're kind of setting it up the way that Emily could have cancer. Now, why she has cancer and what's going on with her, I'm not really sure why she would have cancer or what's going on, but that definitely makes me very intrigued. Again, we don't know what's happened to most of them in the past 5 years, but Emily's the one that we know pretty much nothing about. What's happened in the past 5 years? What is she hiding? We know pretty much nothing, and we'll have to see what happens there, I guess. But Sabrina, this is trying to tell her that, hey, I battled cancer, and that, if you need support, I'm gonna help you. But she rejects her. She completely rejects her, and I was thinking Sabrina was gonna be someone possible love interest for Emily, but no. Instead, Sabrina she rejects her, and she wants nothing to do with her. So I don't really know what's going on there. That was definitely very interesting. And we go to the dinner at Allie's, and even there, Emily's lying about like her studies and work and why, despite them, she'd be staying in town for another month. She's lying everywhere. I mean, if Pretty Little Liars, Emily's the one that's lying the most, definitely. So basically, we see everyone arrives at Allie's house for the dinner party they plan. Hannah awkwardly is introducing Jordan to Caleb. It's clear these two haven't spoken in years, and Emily arrives and chats with Hannah. She reveals that she's going to be staying in Rosewood for a while, and Caleb and Jordan awkwardly talk. Jordan's intrigued by Caleb and Spencer's relationship, and I like what Spencer says here, that basically they just she ran to Caleb into Europe, and they hadn't talked for a few years, but then they just started to get close, and it's clear that something happened with them. I know people are thinking, oh, these two, like, slept together or something, and I think that very well could have happened. There's definitely something that she's hiding that she doesn't want to tell anyone, mainly because I don't think she wants Hannah to be upset. I think it's clear that Hannah and her didn't really talk as much, and I'm sure Hannah would have wanted to know what was going on there, but, and I know people are saying, oh, they had that pact that they never date anyone else's, boyfriend, but hey, they got older, you don't always keep the promises you make, and like I said, after 5 years, things change, and this episode really showed that, and that's something I definitely really love, because it didn't seem like that last week, but here it really does seem like a lot of things change, so I definitely like seeing that. So Hannah and Caleb do share this moment in the wine cellar, because it's the first time they've talked since their breakup, and Hannah reassures Caleb that she wasn't looking for someone new. Her and Jordan just happened. They met up, they started talking, and it just happened. And Caleb's happy for Hannah, and he wishes her and Jordan the best. And he does seem like he cares about her still, but I'm pretty sure that Caleb has moved on. I think the biggest thing with Caleb is that he's kind of upset that Hannah's moved on, but I think in many ways he's moved on too. He's with Spencer now. They seem to be happy. I don't know if they're together, but there's something going on there. We just don't really know what it is yet. And I don't even think they know what to call it. At this point, it doesn't really seem like they know really what to call it either. It's just something that's kind of going on. So everyone heads to the dining room to sit down for dinner. Allie says a prayer, asks God for help finding Charlotte's killer and bringing them to justice, and she says him or her, and all the girls are thinking that this is directed at them after they're done eating. And Spencer takes Hannah aside. They just found out that Charlotte's time of death was at 4 a.m. So Spencer knows that Arya snuck out of the hotel room, and she wants Hannah to look at the security camera footage to make sure that Arya was back in the room before Charlotte was killed. So basically, we then see Emily heads to the brew lair with her mom. She again lies to her and basically is making her mom think that the reason she's going to Hollis is because she wants a grad school interview there. And, her mom's telling her, oh, do you not think you can do it? Things like that. And it's very interesting what she's hiding. But just the fact that Emily's lying to literally everyone, definitely there's something going on that she doesn't want anyone to know, and I'm definitely interested in seeing what that is. So Arya then sneaks up the stairs to Ezra's apartment, and Arya explains to him that she flew all the way back from Boston to talk to him about the book he owes the publication company, and Ezra wants to return the check that they gave him, but Arya says that this is not an option, and her office wants the sequel that he promised them, and Ezra then hands her a very, very rough first draft. And when I say very rough, I mean it doesn't even look like it's finished yet, and he warns her that her boss is not going to like it, but Arya leaves. She questions Ezra about the night that Charlotte was killed, and Ezra's acting very strange. He seems like he's hiding something. He doesn't want to say anything. He's just like, I don't know, I got home. That's all he says. He doesn't say when he got home. He doesn't say why he got home. He's not really telling her anything. So right away, I'm calling it right now. Ezra's the killer of Charlotte, okay? Ezra's definitely the killer, and it would make sense as to why. And something I like is his motive here would definitely make sense. I mean, and we'll get into why when we get into a scene later, but definitely I think Ezra could very well be the killer of Charlotte. So Spencer, Emily, and Hannah break into the office of the hotel. They watch the security footage. It doesn't look good for Arya. She came back after 4 a.m., so she was outside when Charlotte was killed. They then march over to Arya's house, and I like that they said, we're not in high school, we gotta confront her, because that was a very mature thing to do. They demand to know what she was doing out in the middle of the night, and Arya reveals that she met up with Ezra when they went for a walk, and basically Arya confesses that they saw Charlotte slipping into a building, and then Ezra told Arya to get into her car and just leave. But what Ezra says to her before, I think, is what's most important. He says, because he's talking about Nicole, and he says how can God let someone so nice die and let someone so evil and manipulative like Charlotte live? So the way he acts around Arya, the way he just tells her to leave, either he witnessed something, or he was part of Charlotte's death, or he was the straight up killer of Charlotte. I pretty much think it could be, and I'm going to say right now, I'm pretty sure that Ezra's the killer of Charlotte. I'm going to say that right now. So Arya's scared that Charlotte might have been murdered by Ezra because he was furious that she got let out and good people like his girlfriend Nicole are no longer with us. And she thinks that it very well could be Ezra. And that's very smart of her to think that. So Spencer has an epiphany. She realizes that the paper she wrote for criminology that sounded just like Charlotte's murder was something that she let Ezra read. So Spencer says that that she might have told him how to get away with it. She thinks that she might have been the one to tell him how to get away with this, and someone could be after her because of that. So Spencer goes home, tells her mother about her paper. She's scared that it could come back to haunt them and hurt her mom's Senate campaign, and Mrs. Hastings reassures Spencer that she's not a liability and she should not worry about this. This should not be a problem of hers, but obviously Spencer's really worried, and that's understandable why she's worried. I mean, the fact that this paper is out there for anyone to read, yeah, that should be a concern, definitely. So Emily then heads to the cemetery to visit her dad's grave in the middle of the night, and this is a very powerful scene here. She confesses to his grave that she flunked out of school, lost her scholarship, and her mom has no idea. And she promises his headstone that she's going to fix everything, and basically, she hears a noise behind her, spins around. Sarah's standing in the shadows watching Emily. She rushes home. I don't know why Sarah's there, but Sarah's there for whatever reason, and I don't know if she's there to talk to Charlotte's grave or what she's there to do, but for whatever reason, Sarah's there, and she gets out of there, so we now know some things that's going on with Emily, but it still doesn't, answer the question of why is she getting all these tests at the hospital? What's the problem with that? Why is this happening to her? What is it that we don't know about these tests? Why is she getting them? So we need that answer, and I hope we get that soon, because that's the big thing that I want to know, is what is the real reason for getting these tests at the hospital? Just, it kind of feels out of nowhere, and there has to be a reason why. So why is she getting these tests? We'll have to see. So we then see at the end of the episode, Hannah's at the hotel. She deletes the security footage of Arya so that no one can ever prove that she left the hotel. Then she climbs into bed with Jordan, and Allie then tracks down. We see Arya is looking up stuff about Ezra, basically. We see that, she's doing research on Nicole's death, and at the very end, we see that Allie tracks down Lorenzo, says that she has changed her mind, and she thinks her friends may have something to do with Charlotte's death after all, and that's how the episode ends. So, overall, guys, really great episode. Something I did forget to point out that I really do love is that there's no one texting them. There's no A texting them, and that's something I really do love, because the fact that I feel like we're past that. They're older now. We don't really need that, and I feel like what we're going through now is a lot more interesting. Very slowly, they're starting to all turn against each other. I mean, Spencer, like she said, could very well have told Ezra to commit this murder. Did she do that? I'm not really sure. But the big question is Ezra really the killer of Charlotte? I mean, I think it's a possibility. It looks like next week we're really going to start to get into that, if he is the killer, and that definitely makes me very interested. he needs to give, Arya, Liam that book. I mean, if he doesn't give them that book, then it's probably because he murdered Charlotte. And I feel like one of the big parts of this is that he did murder Charlotte and doesn't want to tell them. Or maybe he just witnessed somebody. I mean, I think it could be either that, it could be either thing really. That either he saw someone kill her or he didn't, or he did kill her, could have been one of those things. And I think either possibility, it still makes sense as to why he's acting so distant. I mean, think about it. His girlfriend just died and she meant a lot to him. They probably got very close, and we don't know too much right now about Nicole and Ezra. I'm sure we're going to find out more about what happened with them and why they were so close and how they met and things like that. But definitely, I think Ezra definitely could be the killer of Charlotte. We'll have to see, though. Allie. Allie is obviously on to her friends right now. She thinks they're acting very shady, and she doesn't know why. I'm going to say right now, Hannah's definitely not the killer. I'm going to say that right now. Hannah's definitely not the killer. I don't think Arya is. It's down to Emily and Spencer. What is going on with Emily? Emily, why is she getting all these tests? What's been going on with her in the past 5 years? Of course, we know she flunked out of college, but what else has been going on with her that she doesn't want anyone to know? The fact that she's lying to basically everyone, there has to be a reason why. And we don't really know why, and I definitely want to know. Definitely, I think we're going to find out very soon as to what's going on there. Because there is something going on there. I don't know what's going on there, but definitely there's something going on, and I want to know what, and we'll have to see. Definitely it's going to be interesting. Let's talk about Hannah. What's going to happen with Hannah? We'll definitely have to see what's going on there. With Hannah, I don't really think there's much to say. I mean, I'm glad she's with Jordan and everything. But let's talk about this whole thing going on with Spencer and Caleb. What is going on between Spencer and Caleb? Are they together? Are they not? Was there more that happened with them than we think there was? I'm not really sure. It looks like next week we're really going to start to get into that as well, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Sarah Harvey, why was Sarah Harvey watching Emily? I mean, why was she watching her? Was she going to Charlotte's grave, or was there more to it? I'm not really sure. There's also a part of me that might feel like Lorenzo could be a part of this. I'm not really sure, but you know how we were Lorenzo was very shady in the first half of the season. He still could be, shady in the second half, and I think Lorenzo could possibly be part of this. I'm not really sure, though. I mean, we'll have to see what happens with that. Mona as well. Mona, I don't really know. Maybe something happened with Mona. We'll have to see. We didn't really see Mona in this episode, but again, like I said, I definitely feel like something happened with her, so we'll have to see what happens there. Spencer's mom's campaign. What's going on with that? Obviously, someone's corrupted her thing. Who's that? That's done that. Is there going to be an A? I really hope there's not. I hope we go into this where there isn't an A. I will say that this is a pretty simple case so far. I just hope it gets a bit more complicated, and I definitely think it's going to. Right now, at least, it's not too complicated, but I definitely feel like it's going to get complicated in this, but not in the sense of who's after them. It's more in the sense of who did. I feel like they're going to start to turn against each other, and that's going to get very interesting, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But overall, guys, great episode. Really loving this. Now I'm really loving this, honestly. It's taken me a little while, but I think now I'm really enjoying it. I think definitely they can do a lot more with it. Let me know what you guys saw of this episode. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for Team Wolf, and I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.